Whenever we're ready to go live. We're live. Then I'll call the meeting to order. And I'll ask for confirmation of the agenda, please. I get a mover and seconder for that. Councillor Milligan, Councillor Lalande, all in favor? That's carried. Thank you. Any declarations of pecuniary interest? None noted. Before our regular council meeting, we have an open public meeting to discuss the 2025 budget, or rather to receive comments from the public. The public meeting is being held to receive comments and input on the draft municipal budget, and council is providing notice that it intends to adopt the budget on Monday, April 7th at our regular council meeting. A committee of the whole budget meeting was held last Monday, the March 10th, and a full copy of the agenda and budget presentation is available online. Comments from the public meeting will be received, and staff will post notice of intention to adopt the budget, and that the bylaw to adopt the budget will be brought to the April 7th council meeting. Do you want to move and seconder for that initially, or wait until? We'll wait to the end of the public meeting. Is there anyone present who wishes to make comment on the budget? You're the only one present, sir?
No, I'm just here because I'm interested, that's all.
Okay, well, that's great.
Interested citizen, that's all. No real comment. I read the budget, so I think it's a good budget.
That's good to hear. Thank you very much. No, our public comment is that it's a good budget. Councillor Lalande?
Yes. So we did receive one question from on email. Do we want to address that question and the wonderful answer that was given?
Clerk.
Can we do that here in a public meeting?
Through you, Reeve-wise, if a council member wants to bring that forward, they're welcome to. They can just state what the email was about and how staff or council members responded. That's fine.
Go ahead, Wanda.
So can I identify the individual?
I would say not to, unless it was explicitly stated in the email that they wished it to be brought forward at a council meeting.
Thank you. So a constituent asked the question about the budget summary. The building department income was more than double the department expenses for last year, and they're curious as to what happens with these excess funds, and do they go into general funds, or are they totally kept in reserve for funds for years that expenses might be more than income, or could they be used to offset some of the increased building fees? I believe the response came from Jake Detler, and I'm wondering if he would like to answer that accordingly, or does he want me to just read what he responded?
Jake, did you want to comment on this one?
Yes, Your Worship.
Just wait till the mic works there, Jake. There we go.
It's bad planning to know that you're going to get a very big permit, and a big permit would be in 2022 or 2023 and 2024. We had several permits issued to the Goodyear tire manufacturing plant. Permits came out to $690,000, somewhere in that proximity. It's bad planning practice to go up and then go down. And so it didn't, even though I knew the permits were maybe coming, especially in 2024, I didn't project, and I mean, a treasurer could count on, could actually talk about this, but I didn't project that I was going to make, double the income this year because of one permit. Because if you go, back to 2025 and you show your revenues dropping by hundreds of thousands of dollars, then, I mean, it just, so I just kind of kept a level playing field. And I mean, expected revenues last year were what they were roughly the year before. And I mean, if you were looking at my budget book last year and say, wow, we doubled his budget revenues, and then in that same year, he nominally increased his permit values or his permit fees. Explain that. And I think that's where this individual was coming from. Yeah. I guess in the answer, what I said was that that the building department permits, as per the Ontario Building Code, cannot be used in anything outside of the building department adventures. And that means, you know, paying rent on the office, buying new building department vehicles, paying for building department expenses, wages, that sort of thing. They can't be used to be shuffled to general reserves. And in fact, I have heard that some reserves in times of good in some municipalities get so big that they've had a call down from the ministry saying your building reserve is too much. You maybe want to think about cutting your building permit fees back because it seems like you're taking in too much here. And these permit fees cannot be used to go into a general reserve or to offset other areas of the municipality would need expenses to be paid outside of the building department. And I think that's basically how I answered his question. Maybe I did it better on paper than I did just now, but.
Thanks, Jake. Any further comment on that one? Jason, go ahead.
Just should be also noted that in 2025, we are drawing on some of those reserves to offset what we expect to be a little bit of a downturn in 2025 as far as the number of permits issued. So that's from one year, we're going to have excess. In another year, we're going to have a little bit, we're projecting a little bit of a shortfall. And like I said during the budget presentation, 1 year isn't a trend. We'll keep an eye on it for 2026 as well.
Thank you. Any other budget-related comments? We're still in the public meeting. Councillor Fenwick.
Yeah, this new format was excellent. We got a really nice, straightforward budget that was fairly easy to understand and review. And then we had an opportunity to reach out and have one-offs with some management and with our CAO as well. And it was great to, if you had a question that popped up later, I had an opportunity to inquire with Jason and Jake about our ice resurfacer. And it was $200,000, I believe is the number. Does that sound correct? And I was a little concerned about it. Not concerned, but I just thought that's a lot of money. And things are kind of questionable right now, but I like to be enlightened. And so I did inquire, and I thought about maybe we should wait on that. Maybe with our Olympia only being worth a few $1,000s, we should go another couple years and see if a grant comes up. But as I enjoy being enlightened, I was. The original thought was, let's wait, but realistically, if we wait, we're going to put more money into the old girl, and it isn't worth anything. And we brought in $160,000 in ice revenue, and that's at risk if the machine breaks. We do not have a backup, and if we order one later, we have to wait well over a year for it to come in. So it's just a good example of asking some questions and back and forth conversations, and all of a sudden you say, yep, that makes sense. So for the sake of those listening or those that care, it is nice to have that back and forth, and I want to thank you for the design that we have now. I think it's great. I think it's a wonderful way of doing it.
Thanks, Rob. Anyone else? Yes, Councillor Land.
So I just want to reiterate what Councillor Fenwick said, and that is, this is the first year, I believe, and correct me if I'm wrong, that we've been invited, the public and council, to come and sit with the individual managers, with the CAO on a Wednesday afternoon or whatever, to talk about our issues and our concerns and to ask questions and have them answered. That was really an eye-opening experience, and I greatly appreciate the opportunity to have sat with a few of you. The other thing that I really like that the public may not be aware of, if they haven't gone through the presentation, that is it online, by the way? Yes, the presentation is on one of the slides towards the end. It's a chart, and it describes in 2025, 24, 23, 22, 21, and 20, what our notional rate was compared to all of our surrounding municipalities. And it was really good to see that because we do hear a lot about how high our taxes are. And when you see those numbers and how, I guess, I'd like to say responsible, fiscally responsible, we've been collectively over the years, over those years, in comparison with some of our, with most, almost all of the other townships, we're holding the line really, really well. And people should take a look at that. I wish I could tell you what page it is. It's towards the end of the presentation. It's called Municipal Tax Rate Comparison. So thank you for that as well. It's a really good tool.
Thank you, Wenda. Anyone else? Then I'll entertain a motion. The recommendation is that comments from the public meeting be received and that staff post notices of intention to adopt the 2025 budget, and that the bylaw to adopt the budget be brought to the April 7th, 2025 council meeting. Can I get a mover for that, please? Councillor Fenwick, Councillor Woodcock, any further discussion? All in favor? That's carried. Thank you. So we're back in the regular council meeting at this point, and we move to section 8, which is items for consideration. The first one is the Centreville Agricultural Society, who run our local fair. Request for donation. The recommendation is the council receive the request and provide direction to staff. Can I get a mover to put that on the floor, please? Councillor Woodcock, seconded by Deputy Reeve Davison. Did you want to speak to this at all, Brandy?
Through you, Reeve-wise, this is my understanding that this is an annual request. So if council just wants to confirm that they're providing a donation, I believe, in the amount of $2,500. Is that?
Yeah.
that what
Any
we're
discussion on that?
No, it's been a normal practice of 2,500. I think it got missed last year. Did it? No?
No, we did
Okay,
it.
but it's been a normal practice every year.
In that case, yes. Councillor Fenwick.
Yeah, and just for anybody that thinks about the fact that this is not township property, which it is not, a lot of people in the township do utilize it. They are allowed to wander around and be on the property. It's not like it's locked up, so it is a useful thing for everyone in the township, and it's part of our heritage. I'm fully in support of this. I think it's great.
Thank you. Anything further? All in favor then? That's carried. Thank you. 8.2 is Flame Ontario Special Event Permit Application. This is another annual thing now. The recommendation is that the report entitled Flame Ontario Special Event Permit Application received and for information, and further that council approve the special event permit for the 2025 Sideburn event. 2, that council authorize the Reeve and clerk to execute a land use agreement, and that the fee for the use of land be in the amount of $10,000, and that council provide a noise exemption for the Sideburn event on conditions that the event organizers follow the sound policy as attached to this report and included with the land use agreement, or that council provide other direction. Can I get a mover to put that on the floor? Councillor Milligan and Councillor McDonald. Randy.
Through you, revised, nothing further to add to the report. I did highlight some sections in which there was changes to the application, which included an increase in attendance. I believe last year it was 900, and this year they're anticipating up to 1,100 attendees. And then the sound or the noise exemption has been extended to 3 a.m. on the Friday and Saturday, from 1 a.m. in previous events, and then on the Sunday from 11 p.m. to 1 a.m. So those are the significant changes within the application.
Thank you. Any discussion? Councillor Land.
It did say that there were no sound complaints, correct, from last year? Like, I find 3:30 is really pushing it. I only say that because on occasion We've had some noise around our place at 3:30 in the morning, and you put up with it because, it's just a one-time thing. But if it was going on Friday, Saturday, I'm not sure. But I guess nobody's complaining, so it's maybe a moot point. The other question I had is for Mr. Thompson. Can I direct that to him? So Jeff, you're sort of overseeing some of the safety components and the fire and everything. Do you have any concerns? Because there is a lot of fire activity out there. That's what this is all about. And high winds, unexpected high winds, or anything like that. Do you have any concerns?
Through you, Reeve Wise, we're in contact or constant contact during the event with the event organizers, and it is we have the ability to tell them not to burn, depending on the conditions. So, and they're aware of that. So, if we have a dry season or it's windy, and we'll tell them no burning tonight. But they have a really good team and a really good setup, so we've never had an issue in the past.
Thanks, Jeff. Anything further? Oh, are they online? Oh, I didn't know. Oh, yeah. Okay. The Sideburn rep, have you got any questions or comments?
Hi there. Hello. Thanks for having me. No questions in response to the sound complaints. Correct. We've had no complaints. We do come up a few weekends before to set up speakers, and we drive all around the roads that surround the event and assess if we can hear anything. So we try and set all our speakers pointed up in the right direction. But because you've allowed us more space on the property and allow us to move further back into that property, since then we seem to have mastered the sound issue. So I expect it would continue, but should we receive a sound complaint, of course, we would turn it off immediately. But last year we gave a couple different mechanisms for people to get in touch with us, didn't hear anything. And even in fact, when I handed out sound notices pre-event, folks didn't even know we were we were around. So hopefully we can keep it that way.
Okay, thanks very much. Any further discussion, council? In that case, I'll call a question. All in favor?
Sorry, can I just get clarification that
Yeah.
the motion is to receive the application and approve 1, 2, and 3?
Yes, I've received no direction to the contrary. All in favor? That's carried. Thank you, and thank you, Sideburn person. Okay, moving on. 8.3 is Administrative Monetary Penalty System, or AMPS, and bylaw updates. The recommendation is that the report entitled Administrative Monetary Penalty System and bylaw updates be received for information, and that staff be directed to update and implement AMPS for the following bylaws: dog licensing bylaw, parking bylaw, refreshment vehicle bylaw, and fencing bylaw. Can I get a motion to put that on the floor, please? Councillor Fenwick, Deputy Reeve, Davison, Brandy again.
Nothing further to add to the report, Reeve Wise, but if there's any questions, happy to answer.
Any questions or comments on this report? Yes, Councillor Lalande.
So it says that the bylaws that are being identified will be updated and included under AMPS. So are those updates going to be coming to council first?
Through you, Reeve Wise. So what I anticipate this will look like is that draft bylaws will come back to a committee of the whole meeting to allow for a more fulsome discussion. And then if there's any direction or changes requested from that meeting, the draft bylaw would then come back to council for ratification.
Anyone else? In that case, I'll call the question. All in favor? That's carried. Thank you. Which brings us to our consent agenda. Do you want it adopted first, then we pull items?
If you want to ask for if there's any items to be pulled,
Okay,
and then we can do a motion on the consent and then move to the items pulled.
very good. I will eventually remember. Anyone want to pull an item out of the consent agenda for discussion? Yes, Councillor Fenwick, you seem uncertain.
Yeah, forgive me if it's about pulling it out. It's not really to pull it out for discussion. It's in regards to, maybe it is, to the letter from Sarnia, Corporation of the City of Sarnia. It's about the carbon tax, and it's addressed to Justin Trudeau, which I'm sure that is.
Yeah, we can discuss it, Rob.
Yeah, okay.
We'll discuss it once we get the whole thing.
Okay, but I wasn't sure if it was something that we just omitted because it no longer applies.
Yeah, well.
Is that simple, or?
You can raise it and we'll discuss it in a moment.
Sure.
So you just want a mover and seconder for the consent agenda at this point, and we'll pull that one for Rob? Okay. Did I get a mover and seconder? I didn't. Can I get a mover and seconder? Councillor Milligan, Deputy Reeve Davison, all in favor? That's carried. So go ahead, Councillor Fenwick.
Yeah, my apologies. I wasn't sure if it's something we just comment on or if we can actually pull it out. Yeah, it's addressed to Prime Minister Trudeau, no longer is Prime Minister, and about a carbon tax that, as far as I know, if we're talking about the specific to the consumer carbon tax, I believe that is no longer in existence for the time being. So basically it doesn't apply. I think we don't want to be sending letters off to people that don't technically exist anymore.
Yes, I think I had the same thought. Yes, go ahead. Yeah.
Through you, Reeve Wise. So just for clarification, when items are on the consent agenda, the motion is just to receive them for information. We don't send a letter of support or anything unless council directs so, which you would do so by pulling that from the consent agenda, and it would be to receive and support. But if it's no longer applicable or relevant, we wouldn't proceed any action on it.
Okay. Any notice of motion or direct motion? Anyone have a notice of motion for an upcoming meeting? Anyone have a direct motion? We are on 11. Okay, turn your mic on there, Wendy.
Okay, I'm with you now. As we discussed previous, in regards to doing an evaluation, so I am, and we do have a new CAO, and I feel this might be a good time for council to look at doing an evaluation. And so my motion basically is that council directs staff to bring a report back to council outlining current policies regarding the CAO's performance review and options for implementing an update policy. So basically, do we have something to help support us going forward with an evaluation for our new CAO?
Okay, is that something we can discuss and move on this evening? In other words, is it a direct motion?
Through you, Reeve Wise, so direct motion are for time-sensitive items. If council deems this as a time-sensitive item, you can pass it under as a direct motion. Otherwise, it would be a notice of motion and would be forwarded to the next council agenda.
I think that the latter is the case. It's not super time sensitive. Are you comfortable with that? So it will come to an upcoming meeting. In that case, that's the motion. Is there a seconder for that motion? We don't need a seconder? So Councillor McDonald is simply announcing her intention to make that motion at an upcoming meeting. And so so would she submit that and it would become an item for consideration at a future meeting? Is that the way it works?
So with a notice of motion, it'll be attached to the next agenda, has a motion to be passed, so it would be moved by Councillor McDonald, and she would require a seconder. Once that's passed by council, that direction then goes to staff, and staff would bring back a report at a future date.
Thank you, Councillor McDonald. So anyone else have a notice of motion? Okay. That brings us to announcements. Anyone wish to mention anything that they want to comment on or any congratulations to make? Yes, Councillor Milligan.
I just wanted to announce that the next breakfast in Tamworth put on by the Stone Mills Community Charity Events and the Legion is all the proceeds are going to the Fire Fit team for their Fire Fit competition in August. So it's, when is it? April 19th at the Legion in Tamworth from 7:30 to 10:30, and it's free will donation.
Great, thank you. Anyone else? Yes, Councillor Fenwick.
I'd like to congratulate a couple people that were the recipients of the King Charles III Coronation Medal. Recently, there were hundreds of nominations. There were only 25 recipients in all of Hastings, Lennoxton, Addington, and Tyendinaga Township. And we had two. One in particular, I'll let Mr. Thompson speak to that. And one was my father, who was nominated 26 times, which very proud moment for me. And really nice of him, when he was receiving his medal, he made sure to, before he got down, to speak to the fact that it's not him who should receive the medal, but all the volunteers that allowed him to raise, with his team, over $1 million in the 90s through all the activities they did. It's shocking. So just to congratulate my father, and I'd like Mr. Thompson, if he would speak to our recipient from Newburgh.
Thank you, Councillor Fenwick. This is kind of a surprise, so. Through you, Rewise, Rick Doyle was the other recipient. And I was fortunate enough to be asked by his wife to attend. There was only, I think, 4 people, 4 guests she could bring, so I was one of the guests, so it was good. I knew Rick for a long time, and between the canal and hunting and fire department, and yeah, he was a good friend.
Thanks. Very well deserved, both of them. Thank you for that. Anyone else? In that case, I will make my, it's not an announcement, it's just Happy St. Patrick's Day. I've got a kind of a crappy green sweater on. My t-shirt's a little greener, and I've got a green belt. My grandfather was a Mulholland. That may not be a common Irish name, but his background was Irish. He was born in Canada. And I've got a very fond attachment to the Emerald Isle myself, because the music from there is what really stirs my soul. And I know that's probably true for a lot of Stone Mills residents, especially up around Aaronsville. So let's think happy thoughts about Ireland today. We have no closed meeting this evening, so I will ask someone to move our confirmation bylaw. Councillor Milligan and Councillor McDonald, all in favor. That's carried. Thank you. And a motion to adjourn. Councillor Land, Councillor McDonald, all in favor. That's carried. Thank you very much. Thanks for coming. I hope you were entertained. All right. Okay, good. Come again.